Hey, Kelly. So, as you know, we're getting ready to release and celebrate our 100th episode. We've been podcasting for about 2 years now, and as our main host of the show, the voice of Hashmap on Tap, we want to put you on the spot and ask you some trivia questions.
Hey Jackson, no, that sounds good. We'll see how well I do on this. This could be interesting.
Oh, it's going to be fun. Some of these I actually had to research for a while to make sure I got the right answer, but I think we have it pretty dialed in.
Oh my gosh, you got the benefit of research. I didn't get to do any research on this, so this may be hit or miss for sure.
I mean, you can Google as fast as you can type, but I don't think you're going to find any of these answers on there.
Hands free, hands free.
Okay, so 99 episodes in, we've talked about a lot. We're going to see how well you remember what's happened on the show. So
Okay.
for the first question, we've had so many great guests on the show, from customers, partners, Hashmappers, and friends in our field. A few guests have been gracious enough to come back on the show. Who have we had on the show the most that's not a Hashmap employee?
Okay, this one I think there's two folks that stand out to me. Number one, Ajay Badani with Powell Industries. I want to say that Randy talked to Ajay first, and then I think I've had him on and hosted him a couple of times. So I want to say Ajay with three, and then our good partner Kent Graziano with Snowflake. I want to say he's either been on two or three, but maybe he's in second place, or maybe he's tied with Ajay. I can't remember.
That was a perfect answer. So it's Kent had 3 episodes and Ajay had 3 episodes.
Okay, so Kent did have three.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the disclaimer, because you're going back through the whole history of the show now, because I think Ajay has been on over the last couple of years. It wasn't all in this year.
Yeah, so Ajay, he started, he's been kind of reliving the whole digital transformation journey with us. And he started, it was one of the early episodes, but yes, in the first 50 episodes, and the last 2 have been within the last 50.
Yeah, no, he always fantastic. Both he and Kent, just fantastic insights every time they're on the show.
Yeah. All right, so the next question I have is, one of my favorite parts of the show is that you go back and ask the guests to tell us their background. We've heard some really cool stories of how people got to where they are today. And then you play a lightning round with people at the end of the show, where we learn even more tidbits about the guests and what they do in their free time. So this is from one of the early episodes again. Which one of our guests plays the bass guitar on the side?
Boris Japes.
You know, I thought about this. There might actually be some guests that do this and we don't know about it. So I can't say no for sure.
I can't say no or yes. Okay, who might it be? I really don't remember. That's a great one. Who was it?
So
Who was it?
David Langdon, the VP of product at Matillion.
Dave, yeah. I'll tell you why I don't remember that is because David, so he's in the UK, and we did the show. We recorded the show early in the morning my time, late in the afternoon his time, and he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do." I can't remember what he did, a rum or something. And so I was trying to match. The closest thing I had was a port, and so I'm drinking port, high alcohol content, probably 17 or 18% at 9 a.m. in the morning. This is why I don't remember that aspect of that interview. That's exactly
why we've had so many fun episodes, is from situations like that.
Yeah. Exactly. It's interesting. Dave and I've been talking about him coming back on the show and doing maybe a multi-technology program where it's Matillion and maybe Snowflake and ThoughtSpot. So we'll have to get that kicked off here at the first part of the year.
That would be awesome. Okay, so next question. Hashmap was born at the same time the pandemic was developing, and everyone we've had on the show, like all of us, have been affected in some way or another by it.
I think, obviously everybody's been affected in a lot of ways. Some of us, some folks way worse than others. But I think from a business standpoint, I think number one, we're really fortunate to be in an industry where really we can work either in person or remote, and I think be equally as effective. So that's been nice. And I think for me, having been doing this for so long and being on the road so much, it's two things, I guess: not having to, pack up the bag on Sunday night or Monday morning and head out the door, and after a few days come back. I think that's one aspect that's been, at least for me personally, that's been nice. But number two, I just feel so much more productive, and maybe overly productive, where, I've got, 10, 12 or so meetings scheduled during a day. It's just jam packed in there, which you could never do when you were on the road traveling. So
Yeah, I was gonna say,
um,
I've only known you as Remote Kelly. So, and I see your
I know.
calendar now, and I'm just overwhelmed with
Yeah.
how much
Yeah.
your calendar takes over my entire screen.
Yeah, no, I mean we've never. You're right. I mean a lot of the hash mappers we've never actually met in person, but certainly know each other really well just from sessions like this. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think my family probably doesn't miss me being on the road a lot either, for sure.
I'm sure. So with this, I think I would say the majority of our industry is still working from home. Um, do you remember which one of our guests built himself a home office slash shed in his backyard and then recorded the episode from it?
Oh yeah, that was really cool. What's interesting, Jackson, we have, whenever we're recording these shows, we have video on, but we don't actually record it and
Mm.
release the video. So I get for me and any guests are on, we're seeing each other, we're seeing the backgrounds and all that. And I remember uh Oliver with Count, if I'm not mistaken, had the coolest office that he had built, like this really cool wood paneling and everything. And I was really jealous of, wow, that's really nice. So I think that's who you're referencing there.
Yeah, and that's actually I was thinking about this the other day that you do get to see and meet with a lot of people. Who do you think has the most interesting home office that you've met with over the past 2 years?
Oh man. Okay. So the guy, and I don't remember which one of the co-founders. There were three technical co-founders with Starburst, and I don't remember which one of the gentlemen it was, but we were doing the show, and I think I want to say maybe we were having beers on the show and everything, and he turns around, he said, if you really want to do a show just about the beverage and the drinks, he pulls around, turns around in his chair and pulls back this cabinet, and it's just packed with everything you can imagine in the world of beverages. And I said, wow, that's pretty nice, right? I just have windows behind me. He has an entire cabinet of interesting drinks behind him.
That's yeah, a sweet setup for a home office for sure. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
don't even have a
Exactly.
bar in my house, so I
Yeah,
would say that.
exactly.
All right, so okay, so next question. So in episode 59, we had Murali Bhagavali from Tinder. He's a group
Hmm.
product manager of data and platforms. He was on the show, and right off the bat, maybe in the first 5 minutes, you outed your kids as avid Tinder users. So we know your kids play a part in the statistic. Do you
Yeah.
remember how many dates on average a week?
Are you talking about for my kids or overall?
Overall, it's fine.
Okay. How many dates in a week Tinder sets up? My gosh, I don't. This is going to be total guess. I know Morale talked about some massive numbers around the data that they're managing. 50 million,
Yeah, well, not that many. It's probably I mean, it has to have grown since then, but it was 1.5 million in 2019.
1.5. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that I do remember that he had some just off the chart type stats on the amount of events that Tinder's managing. So
I would
yeah,
say
really interesting show.
that was a great show because there was a lot of mind-blowing numbers in that show, just the amount of data that they work with on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
All right, so next question. We said earlier, Kent is one of our favorite returning guests on the show. He's one of the smartest people I've heard speak, but he also seems really easy to conversate with. He's had the same drink on every episode because he drinks the same drink every day. Do you know what that drink is?
Oh yeah, because I have him at home as well. He loves the HEB. So HEB is a grocery store chain in the U.S. Certainly in our area, there's a lot of them, and he loves the HEB sparkling waters. I love them as well. There's a number of different flavors, so usually it's some variation on that. I don't remember the exact flavors he's had on the show. I want to say maybe grapefruit was one of those, but yeah, those are really good. And kind of one of our only rules is you can't have just plain tap water. So I like the sparkling water twist on that. You get a little flavor, get a
Mm,
little kick, and HEB does a great job with those.
yeah. All right. So, okay. So that one's right. We have You have 3 correct so far, and I think we're on
Oh, so
number
you're
6.
you're actually measuring,
Oh,
you're metricing me out on this. So is it? I don't think I'm 3, because I know I missed at least one. It seems like.
we're gonna say you've missed David Langdon and
Yeah.
then the Tinder dates.
I had wait, but I had an excuse for Dave Langton.
Okay, so get a half credit for that one.
Give me a half point. Give me a half point. All right.
All right, so I mean you don't even know what you're competing for at this point, so
I really don't. I hope there's some cool Hashmap swag or something there that we have. But yeah. All right. What you got?
we're gonna find
I'll
out.
try to pick up the pace a little bit here. I don't think I'm doing too well on the questions.
All right, so next question. Danielle Behringer, she's a technical director of partnerships at Gretel AI. She recently joined us for episode 94, and she shared some really exciting news with us about their latest Series B funding. Do you remember how much they raised?
Series Bs lately have been pretty large compared to what they were 3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember the exact number, but I'm going to take a stab that it was between 40 and 60 million, somewhere in that 50 million range. Is that close?
That's exactly it. It was 50 million.
Yeah, it's been incredible. B rounds lately have been going for 50 and almost just check, writing one after the other. So yeah, they've got a really interesting area in the privacy engineering space. They deal with synthetics and help clients do more in that area. They've got a unique approach on it. And yeah, she was a great guest. Had a really nice time speaking with her.
Yeah, I think that was a really interesting episode as well. And I think that's one of the clips that we're going to have David and Chimai talk about on the show, because I think there's a lot of really interesting use cases and areas where they can use that technology. So I'm kind of excited to hear how they break that down.
Yeah, agree.
All right, so that one's right. We have the next question is the data engineering space is such a large landscape. And now we're not the only podcast. And in fact, there's quite a few great podcasts out. Do you remember which 2 guests from the show also host their own podcast?
So Cindy Howson with ThoughtSpot, she was gracious enough to come on the show. She's got a really cool podcast that focuses on the chief data officers around the world. So she is one. Oh man, who else has got a podcast right now? That's the one. So maybe I get half credit. I can't think of who else has a podcast right now that's been on the show. Who is it?
Tristan Handy from DBT Labs.
Oh, yeah, Tristan. They started their podcast recently, and it is very interesting. In fact, I think those guys dig into some deep technology topics way beyond anything that I would be able to comment on. So no, Tristan and the DBT Labs team are doing some cool stuff over there, and yeah, I definitely would recommend checking out that podcast for sure.
I felt like you probably would have forgotten that episode because it was also really early in the episode. Tristan, he kind of cut you off and he said how jealous and envious he was about your announcer voice.
Exactly. I do remember from that episode, we actually had a kombucha. So we've had kombucha a couple of times on the show, and Tristan was one that we always have it's guest choice, right? So guests always get to choose whatever beverage they would like to have and talk about. And that was one of the kombucha episodes, which was cool.
And how much did you enjoy kombucha both times you've had it on the show?
So the one that Anna Abramova and I also had one with SQL DBM. I can't remember if it was with her or Tristan. I had a ginger lemon and it was outstanding. The other one for me was a little too sweet. I prefer not as sweet of drinks. And but yeah, I'm not a regular kombucha drinker. My wife drinks them literally every single day. And interestingly, she doesn't like the ginger lemon, so I get those.
Oh. I was gonna say so that's probably the only one I like as well, and I think it might be a problem, but I like the ginger lemon because it tastes like a Moscow Mule. So I can drink those during the day and feel really good about myself for doing something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan of those as well. So gosh, so do I get half credit on that one?
Oh yeah. We got you 5 full points now.
All right. Yes. What am I shooting? How many questions? What am I shooting for here?
We have 13 questions.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean we're still on track. You're doing great.
Okay.
I think you
I get a passing grade or not.
This one should be in your wheelhouse.
Okay.
So George Fraser is a CEO and co-founder of Fivetran. he told us on the show that it took a little over 2 years for them to get their first customer. And then their whole experience became real when they cashed their first check and they realized that people gave them real money. So now, fast forward a few years later, Fivetran has exploded and they've grown a lot over the past few years. But do you remember when Fivetran was actually started?
Ooh. Oh, I want to say Fivetran started right around the time Hashmap was founded. I'm going to guess 2012.
Yeah, that's right.
Boom. And I think that's why it stands out to me. Preetpal and Prasad founded the company in 2012, and George and his other co-founders did the same. Interesting to see, kind of that parallel with the technology company and a consulting services company along that same path.
Yeah, and they're still, I mean, we started around the same time. We're still great friends, good partners of ours, and we do a lot of stuff together. I don't know, trying to think, how many webinars have we done with them just since last summer?
Yeah, a lot of the data bites. In fact, I think you guys have put those out on the YouTube channel. So a lot of cool stuff with Fivetran. They just raised a massive round. I think it was over $500 million and acquired a competitor in the space, HVR. So a lot of moving and shaking with the team at Fivetran over the last month or so.
Yeah. All right, so we got another one. We're up to 6. We have a few more. This one, actually, you just mentioned him. We had Preetpal on the show a few times, and he's a great host/guest. He's a co-founder at Hashmap and does a fantastic job. I think he's a great leader. He's pretty genuine, and he supports the entire team. I'm sure you actually have a lot more to say about him than I do. But what we're here to talk about today is his passion for smoothies. And he is so passionate about smoothies that he published his favorite smoothie recipe on Medium. Can you name 3 items from his recipe?
Oh, okay. I have not seen. I need to look at his recipe on Medium. I have not seen it, so I am just going to take a guess. I'm going to go bananas, blueberries. So 2 fruits, bananas, blueberries, and maybe some sort of maybe a yogurt. Bananas, blueberries, and yogurt are those 3 ingredients in Preetpal's favorite smoothie recipe.
We'll take this because I'll tell you, this is a list that he has from Medium. And I think you're right from what he said on the show. So that's why I'm going to give it to you. But this is the actual list from Medium. He said greens, adaptogens. I don't know what that is. Are you familiar?
No. Even if I had remembered that, I or had heard about it, I wouldn't be able to repeat it on the show. No idea what those adaptogens are. Preetpal would be able to tell us though for sure.
Yeah, he would. I'm going to ask him about that now that we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Plant-based proteins on there, seeds. I remember.
See, I almost said protein, but I would have left out probably the plant-based. But that's a good call.
Yeah. Well, I remember. So what I remember from the episode is him talking about throwing a handful of walnuts in there, and I just remember thinking that's going to be a chunky smoothie.
Yeah, a lot of that.
You better fruits and vegetables
in there. One. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's been fun. I know Preetpal did a few shows talking about Oracle migrations. I think Teradata or Netezza migrations, those types of things, and maybe one on SAP as well. So yeah, he's always got some very interesting insights when he comes on.
I was gonna say he's another one of those that he's just insanely intelligent, but you can hold the most natural conversation with you. You would have never known how smart he is unless you actually start talking to him.
Yeah, and don't ever play him in squash. You will get destroyed. Don't
make a note of that.
Yeah, don't fool yourself into thinking you could beat him in squash. Not going to happen. He's really good.
We'll have to get him to play like a game or some kind of promo video for us soon with squash.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be great. He plays. I don't know daily, but certainly several times during the week. I think he plays in the evening, so I'm sure somebody could help him out and get a cool promo there.
Yeah, we'll send Holly over there.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question. We're at 100 episodes, and we've had a lot of guests and rotating panel of hosts. I know that you don't like listening to your own voice, and I think I've actually heard your voice more on the podcast than I've heard in real life. Because I'm always listening to episodes and editing
chores.
Yeah. It's just hours of your voice on days on end.
How much? Okay, so I'm just curious, how much how much editing, I mean, I know you do intro and outro, but how much editing do you actually do on an average with a show? I mean, how much has to be, sort of cut out, split down, all that kind of thing?
It just depends. I mean, every guest comes back with a different kind of level of quality of sound. So even if they are the best speakers, they're really rehearsed. Sometimes their audio quality isn't great. So then we'll just go into our Adobe suite and basically Photoshop the entire audio file until we get it as clean as possible.
Okay, yeah, it's tough because everybody's got a little bit different setup on audio, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. That makes sense. So every time, just try to get that optimal quality. Yeah.
So with that being said, since you haven't listened back to a few episodes, do you know offhand how many episodes you've hosted?
We've had a lot of hosts. I would say 50. I'll throw a round number out. No, let me get a professional number. 50 is just a round number. 48. Let me go 48.
Wow. Okay, so I was actually surprised by this too because I think some of the other hosts also have really big personalities, and I feel like I've heard Randy's voice as much as yours
Yeah.
almost. But you actually hosted 67 out of the 99
Really?
episodes we've had.
Wow. Very cool. Yeah, I had no idea on that. I like to give you don't want to give just that round number. So
It's a
48. But
kind of
yeah,
rough, so it's, yeah.
yeah, you're right. I do not go back and re-listen or anything like that. Although we do send these out a lot, just especially on a particular topic, which is really cool to kind of hone in on something maybe a client or a technology partner has talked about. So we do use these a lot. But yeah, I certainly I do not have this on my Spotify fast playlist or anything like that.
But I will say this is kind of a great social experiment because you actually are remembering a lot of these episodes for not going back and re-listening to them.
Well, I mean, when you spend an hour with somebody and you talk about these topics, and I mean, every guest is memorable in their own way.
Mhm.
Everybody's a little bit different. I mean, we have a different beverage on the show. There's different backgrounds. There's, like you said, there's some clients, there's some technology partners, there's some hash mappers. It's a lot of fun, and everybody's got a little bit different to spin on how they look at things in this data space.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's one of the things I like about the show is you don't always know what the next episode's going to look like.
Yeah, we're starting to get quite a few folks that just reach out to us proactively too, and maybe they've seen in the technology space, maybe they've seen one of their competitors or heard one of their competitors on the show, and want to jump in and talk about what they're doing as well. So it's been a lot of fun, and I think it gives us a chance to stay really close to some of those early stage companies that are just starting to come on the scene too.
Yeah, I was going to say great plug. If you're interested on being on the show, please reach out to our
Yeah.
marketing team or Kelly. We will get you on as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so next question. We're almost at the end. And I can't say this enough. We've had a lot of incredible guests on the show, and a lot of them are actually connections that you've made along the way and that you've brought onto the show. Do you remember who the first special guest was on the show?
Oh wow, the first special guest on the show.
I'll give you a
No,
little
I did.
context.
Okay, yeah, I need a hint. You got to at least
Yeah,
give
so
me. I mean, we're talking
this is
100 shows here. Give me a hint.
actually episode 6, so way back when. The first 5 episodes, it was Randy and Kieran. They hosted the show and they kind of went back and forth and talked about different topics. This is someone I want to say is also from the Oklahoma area. That's a friend of Randy's. It was about DBT.
It was Andy with AHTG. Andy Frisch with AHTG. He's actually a former hash mapper as well.
Oh,
When
cool.
you said Oklahoma, friend of Randy, then that kind of jogged my memory. But man, yeah, if you hadn't given me the hint, there's been so many shows I wouldn't have had any idea who that first guest was. Yeah, I would call them a kind of a tech startup doing some really cool stuff, building on a modern data stack. And Andy had some, if I remember right on that show, he had some really practical, and of course, I listened to that one. I wasn't the host on it. Had some really practical advice for folks that are starting out on a modern data stack, what to do, what not to do, what's worked and what hasn't.
And that's kind of another great point about the show is a lot of these episodes, that was episode 6 back in I have to look at the date, but 2018, 2019, still a lot of great practical advice that's usable today.
Yeah, agree.
Okay, on this show and in our field, we have a lot of diversity, which is really cool. One of the things I appreciate about our show and this industry. We've had people from all over the world come on the show. Can you name 3 foreign countries our different guests have joined us from? So who they are and then where they were recording from.
Yeah. Michelle Tricot with Airbite, I want to say, came into the show from Paris.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yep.
Who else?
I think you talked to somebody.
Well, no, we talked about earlier, Dave Langton. I
Yep.
have a layup there. You mentioned David Langton
Mhm.
with Matillion. He came in from the UK. So there's
Mhm.
2, Michelle and David, and then
I want to say you talked to someone
recent,
the same week as Michelle.
yeah, recently though too, we had Prokolpa with Atlan, right? Came in from, I want to say London. Was it London or Paris?
You might be right. I didn't even have that one on the list.
I think she was either London or Paris, if I remember right. And then I think Anastasia was out of London too with Creative X.
Okay, so there's a lot of people I don't have on this list.
Well, who did you have? Who else did you have that came in worldwide?
I had David and Oliver Hughes, both out of England. I had Tristan Meyer and Michelle Tricot out of France. I had Janice Matthias, is that right? From Banzai Cloud. He is from Hungary.
Oh yeah, Giannis. Yeah,
Giannis.
absolutely. Yeah, he. Yeah, knew Giannis at. We were at Hortonworks together, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so I have him, and then I have Paul Hardman of Arlo from Ireland, and then
Right.
Sergey from Hotel Beds. He's from Spain, and then
yeah.
also recently Dal Man from Meltano. He was in Mexico City.
He was in Mexico City. Yeah, and Sergey came to us from Spain. Now I'm drawing a blank on the island right off the coast of Spain. It's where Nadal is from.
I remember what you're talking about.
Think.
I remember listening to
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I'm very envious of him as he's recording this, and he's on an island.
It is a beautiful, beautiful area.
All right, so we'll give that one to you because you had something. I also thought about that too. Is like there's probably a lot of people that they didn't bring it up on the show because it's just they just are where they are, and I didn't even think about them being in a different area.
It's interesting though. I mean, I didn't realize it was that many guests from different parts of the world, and certainly as we've been going through the last couple of years, I think again that ability to work remotely and have a company that maybe you founded in the Bay Area or on another part of the world and work from somewhere else, certainly a reality. So no, it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the last question. And I think it's probably the most difficult question because I actually had to do some research on this one. Do you remember the first drink you had on the show?
Well, I think I don't remember. So this is going to be a guess. I mean, we have probably more coffee, tea, and beer than anything else. Talked about. I know for a fact we've had 2 kombuchas on the show, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've had wine twice.
What
are you talking about for
yes,
me personally?
For you personally.
I'm going to go coffee. I'm just going to go coffee. Total guess.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's right. I was going to say, is the episode with Denise Pearson from Snowflake.
Yeah.
And it was Ruta Maya coffee.
Nice. Yeah, I would not have known. There's been so many coffees over the last 100 shows. I couldn't have told you which one it was, but I feel like coffee, tea, beer have been the 3 popular. You may know the stats on it. Those have been the popular. And again, guest always selects, right? Those have been the popular selection with guests for the most part.
Yeah, I'd say we've had a few people who regret their choice and wish they had wine on the show too. That just means you have to have them back on here.
Yeah, exactly.
So okay, so that was the end of the trivia, and we have. Okay. I don't know if I was counting right, but either 7 or 8 out of 13 correct, which means you get to keep doing the show.
Yes, that's my prize. I'm not kicked out. I can remember enough after all of these beverages and guests. Okay, cool. I love it.
All right.
I think we got a couple more this week.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have a few. So after the 100, we just keep on rolling through. We have several
Okay.
more episodes lined up.
Okay. I like it.
But thanks everyone for watching. We're really excited to release our 100th episode. We have, like I said, mentioned earlier, we have two great guest hosts that will be dissecting some of the clips from the last 50 episodes. That's David and Chimai, their fellow Hashmappers, and we're excited to share that with you guys. So make sure you tune in, listen to the episode, and give us any feedback you guys have. And Kelly, do you want to do the honors of your traditional sign off?
Sure. I appreciate everybody listening in to this special video episode. Look forward to a lot more of these, like Jackson said, and any feedback or comments across the board, or as Jackson said earlier, any special guests, or if you would like to be a special guest, just reach out, let us know. We would love to hear from you. We'll see you soon on another episode. Take care.
Take care.